Hi, Angelia. Hi, Caragwen. Good morning. Hello, Facebook. Hi, YouTube. We are diving in to the deep waters of Isis, Aset, this August, the rising of the dog star, the opening of the lion's gate, the energies of the queen archetype. It's a big month. Morning, Priestess Rising and Natalie Rose. Hope everyone's doing well. Hi, Theodora. We are really going deep into and so timely into the mysteries of female sovereignty and female authority. And not only authority in our own lives, but authority in the worlds around us, which is so needed right now. The especially with the increasing attacks on women's physical sovereignty. And those attacks on women's physical sovereignty are not the most sinister. They're the most blatant. But the more sinister attacks come in the internal landscape of patriarchy, whereby women often self regulate in such a way that we avoid coming off as being a know it all or being bossy or being authoritarian. And realistically, all of those things have been deemed outside of our sphere when in fact, that is exactly where we belong. We do deserve to be in charge. We do deserve to be decision makers. We do deserve to be authoritative in our own bodies. Was heartened to see the result of the vote in Kansas last night to protect women's bodily autonomy. So, to that end, let's keep that drum beating for ISIS to continue to remind women across all different political backgrounds, across all different socioeconomic backgrounds, that we are allowed to be in charge, not only of ourselves, but of other situations around us. Um, so we're going to say the Nehes prayer. And good morning, Josephine. Good to see you. And Natalie, holding support for you. Just breathe and hopefully things will calm as we do our practice. Chanting sometimes helps. So sending you a little love and let's get into it. The Nehes prayer to Isis and the translation that we use is by Reverend DeTracy Regala of the Isis Oasis Sanctuary in Geyserville, California. Nehes, Nehes, Nehes. Nehesem Hotep, Nehesem Neferu. Nebet Hotepet, Webenem Hotep, Webenem Neferu. Nuchet an Ankh, Nefer em Pet, Pet em Hotep, Tu em Hotep. Nuchet sat nut sat get, Merit Osar, Nuchet Asharenu, Anech Brak, Tu Aatu, Tu Aatu, Nebet Aset. And in English, awake, 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 awake in peace, Lady of Peace, rise thou in peace. Rise thou in beauty, Goddess of Life. Beautiful in heaven, heaven is in peace. Earth is in peace, O Goddess, daughter of Nut, daughter of Geb, beloved of Osiris, mother of Horus, goddess rich in names, all praise to you, all praise to you. I adore you, Lady Isis. And yesterday's card, the Eye of Horus, Awakening Divine Perception. I had a couple instances of that yesterday, of just, hard to explain, but in just like a couple different ways. Like in one instance, I was looking for something that I couldn't find, a password that I couldn't find, and then I could see it in my mind's eye, and I was like, "Oh, okay, I remembered it. I don't have to find whatever that little hidden scrap of paper is. And then in another, I was looking at a document and I couldn't really understand it. And then all of a sudden, it was like, whoosh, oh, okay, now I get it. So I definitely had some Eye of Horus moments, kind of mundane, but that's where the magic really happens. You know, if the only time that the magic is happening is when you're kind of like in your set aside time for it, then it's not really doing its job. Magic needs to be happening in your mundane life. That's when you know that what you've done in the time of practice was, in fact, effective. Okay, here's our card today: Soul Retrieval, Deep Soul Healing with the Goddess. Morning, Aiden, Yvette. All right, let's hear what this card about soul retrieval is. Here we go. Deep soul healing with the goddess. Isis, the healing goddess, now offers you spiritual restoration and deep soul healing through the art of soul retrieval, reclaiming pieces of you that were lost through trauma, old and new. Soon you will enjoy greater wellness, energy, and power, as well as the opening of gifts and soul abilities you did not know you had. Did you know that pieces of you can be trapped in the past, in traumatic experiences, and in relationships, even those long since gone, because part of your power remains with another? This can happen because of permission subconsciously given for them to hold a piece of your spirit. Then the time comes for such permissions to be revoked and the pieces of self to be reclaimed and restored to the soul. The master healer and goddess of deep soul restoration, Lady Isis, now guides you to make peace with the past and to reclaim the lost pieces of your own soul. The time has come for you to take yourself entirely into your own possession, to call back your soul from trauma in this lifetime and others, to give yourself back to yourself wholly and completely. In doing so, your life will flourish, infused with greater energy into beautiful new expression. I feel like the healing process is going to be powerful here. Here's the incantation that she gives, which I think is beautiful. Isis, with love unconditional and strong, help me rise above right and wrong, to forgive, release, and make myself whole, to retrieve lost pieces of my soul. Restore the inner light grid of gold, free me from trauma, new and old. Isis, with love unconditional and strong, help me be whole now and finally move on. You know, it's an interesting thing because I think in the concept of soul retrieval is typically most common amongst the indigenous tribal peoples of this world. We know of incidences of, yeah, this says, Aiden says, this resonates. Um, we know that, in for example, um, Siberia and in Asia, the practice of soul retrieval is an essential part of shamanism, what is now known as shamanism. Um, Although the different tribes and different groups of people each have their own word for that. But, what we collectively now, for the sake of understanding each other, call shamanism, that is, it is an essential part. Soul retrieval is an essential part of that. But I really think it's interesting when we look to the myth of Isis and Osiris, how After Set murdered Osiris and cut him into pieces and scattered those pieces across the world, Isis went around and collected all of those pieces and put them back together. And then she actually couldn't find one very important piece of Osiris. So she fashioned one, a new one from the earth, and added it. And then, standing over him, she fluttered her great wings, and those wings breathed life into the inanimate, reassembled corpse of Osiris, giving him a new chance at life. And through that, she impregnated herself with Osiris and his seed and gave birth to Horus. So there's a real link here, I think, between the concept of soul retrieval as we might know of it in shamanism and this myth of Isis and Osiris. But in this, Isis is acting as the shaman. She is going and collecting the parts of Osiris that were lost, that were dismantled by an enemy with murderous intent. And now, a lot of times in our lives, we might think, well, I don't really need a soul retrieval. I'm not dealing with anybody who has like murderous intent. Nobody's tried to kill me. But the reality is, every day we give little bits of ourselves to situations and circumstances in which we feel really like that our only choice is no choice. So if you feel like your only choice is no choice, I need to put food on the table for my kids, so I have to go to this soul sucking job that goes against my principles, or I have to go to, I have some kind of an illness, and so I have to go into a medical establishment and do things, tests and things that I really don't want to do, that are painful or uncomfortable. You know, we might think, well, for the sake of the kids, I'll stay in this loveless marriage. There's all kinds of different reasons why we might give away pieces of our sovereignty, our autonomy, and in fact, our souls. And when we give those away, even when it's like, well, I didn't have a choice, it's not as if there was a murderous intent there. No one was trying to take anything from you per se. And yet you felt like you had no choice. That functions on the same level to steal your life force. So, although we all have unavoidable things to deal with, situations, circumstances, vexatious people, everything like that, none of it necessarily will take our soul away. But we actually need to, it's not like they're out there sorcerously stealing our souls most of the time. Sometimes, though, there are people out there sorcerously trying to steal souls. That it does happen. But it's not the majority of the time. The majority of the time, it's that we feel like we have to give it away. That's the real kicker, is that we've given it away ourselves. And so we feel that we then have nowhere to go, no one to blame but ourselves, nothing to blame but circumstance. And we fail to go after and retrieve the parts of our life force. And this can just happen in a few minutes. At the end of your work shift at a job where you're feeling really devalued, you can say, get in your car, just have like a minute with yourself and say, breathing in, I restore and refresh and renew the sense of self, of who I truly am. Breathing out, I release anything that I had to say, do, or endure today as a result of needing to be in this job. It can just be that simple. In a relationship setting, it can be sleeping apart sometimes. In a situation where, even though you're sick and your kids are also sick, so you're taking care of them, after that, to cleanse all of you from whatever that sickness took. Those little gestures, this is such a perfect card for what I was saying at the beginning, which is that our practice where we set aside a time and do something different than what we would normally be doing is only effective if the results show up in the other times. So, in the other times, you remember to just take that minute to cleanse, to clear, to purify, to refresh, to restore. In the other times outside of practice, you remember you are not your job. In the other times, you remember there is no such thing as a non negotiable romantic relationship. I can take my power back here. So let's today really focus on whatever it is that we need to do to refresh and restore. And that could be to take some moments to do something specifically ceremonial, like burning herbs, making smoke offerings, pouring out sacred waters, doing a cleansing bath, chanting, refreshing and renewing. We can do that. That's great. We should be doing those things. We should absolutely be doing all of those things. But we should also pay attention to making part of our regular maintenance the calling home of life force energy that may have gone missing as a result of someone else taking it, but also as a result of us giving it away. And oh, yeah, Yvonne says, I'm on a 10 at work. Needed this today. Thank you. And glad we could be together. And good morning to you too, Lupa. And Amy says, a great reminder to reclaim all of our power that inevitably gets diluted by daily life. I couldn't have said it better. That is so succinct and perfect. We must reclaim all of our power that inevitably gets diluted by daily life. Daily life isn't here to drain us, but it isn't always here to sustain us either. Sometimes we do have things that draw on our power, that draw on our frequency. So today, let's call home the light. And here's my favorite practice for that. You can, of course, do whatever feels right to you. But what I tend to like to do is at the end of the day to just lay down in my bed before I go to bed, and I envision a sort of egg shape of rainbow sparkling light all around. And I say, I call home all the parts of myself that I've left strewn and scattered across the various areas of my life and in the cosmic order. And as they come home to me, they return refreshed, renewed, and I am restored. And then I envision all those little, like, it almost is like motes of dust in the light coming. And they all come back. And as they cross through that rainbow light crystalline barrier, they are cleansed, refreshed, renewed, and they come and live here. And if you have your own practices, do those. But whatever it is today, let's try to do it so that we can actually refresh and restore ourselves, because the power in doing so is going to make our second harvest, which is coming up at fall equinox, all the sweeter. So that's our short bit for today, if that's what you were here for. And now let's dive in to Guanyin practice. We're going to start, as usual, with 3 prostrations before the shrine. And before we get into it, I see I need to just empty my water bowls and get them ready. So give me one quick second. And let's take refuge. Namo Guru Be. I take refuge in the inner teacher. Namo Buddhaye. I take refuge in the great mother of compassion. Namo Dharmaye. I take refuge in the wisdom of the ages. Namo Sanghaye. I take refuge in the community of practitioners. And let's set our intention. And today we're holding Priestess Mary Beth's daughter, Destiny, who hurt her knee. We're also still holding the 2 kittens that I'm bottle feeding right now, who were born the day before yesterday. And anyone else who you feel needs a little extra burst of energy today. And let's recite the 4 immeasurables. May I be a source of loving kindness in this world and all worlds, bringing a generous heart to all my thoughts and doings. May I be a vehicle of compassion in this world and all worlds, ever mindful and aware of the tremendous suffering of others. May I be a brimming vessel of joy in this world and all worlds, delighting in the happiness of others as their suffering is alleviated. May I be a balance point of equanimity in this world and all worlds, seeing all as equals and all as deserving of goodness. Oh, offerings. I light this candle as a symbol of the enlightening Dharma way. May it shine brightly for the benefit of all beings. I light this incense as an offering for Guan Xiyin, she who hears the cries of the world, mother of all. Om Ahum. 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 Reverently, I prostrate with my body, speech, and mind and present clouds of every type of offering, actual and virtual. I confess all my destructive actions accumulated since beginningless time and rejoice in the meditation of all holy and ordinary beings. Please, Guanyin, remain until the end of samsaric existence and turn the wheel of Dharma for sentient beings. I dedicate my own merits and those of others to the great enlightenment. 108 recitations of Namo Guanxi Yin Pusa. Namo Guanxi Yin Pusa, 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 Namo Guanxi Yin Pusa. Namo Guanxi Yin Pusa, 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 Namo Guanxi Yin Pusa. Namo Guanxi Yin Pusa, 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 Namo Guanxi Yin Pusa. Namo Guanxi Yin Pusa, 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 Namo Guanxi Yin Pusa. Namo Guanxi Yin Pusa, 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 Namo Guanxi Yin Pusa. Namo Guanxi Yin Pusa, 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 Namo Guanxi Yin Pusa. Namo Guanxi Yin Pusa, 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 Namo Guanxi Yin Pusa. Namo Guanxi Yin Pusa, 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 Namo Guanxi Yin Pusa. Namo Guanxi Yin Pusa, 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 Namo Guanxi Yin Pusa. Namo Guanxi Yin Pusa, 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 Namo Guanxi Yin Pusa. In our brief prayer to Yeshet Sogyal, Ying Chuktaki Somo Kachanza, Dusum Kunchempe Majunye Ki, Sang So Dupo Dechen Sogyal Mar So Wadeb So Chuktun Nudrup So. Mother of Space, foremost of Dakinis, Lady Karchanza, gatherer of the vast secret treasury of Padmakara, knower of all, past, present, and future, Mother Sogyal, great bliss queen, to you we pray. Grant us cities, ordinary and supreme. Ying Shuktaki Somo Kachanza, Dusumkun Jempe Majingyeki, Sangzo Dupo Dechen So Gelmar, So Wadeb So Chuktun Nudrup So. And 108 recitations of Om Mani Padme Hung, sending out our collective recitations to all who need it at this time, and especially to Destiny, and to the kittens, and to anyone else who you are bringing to your practice today. Om Mani Padme Hung, 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 Om Mani Padme Hung. Om Mani Padme Hung, 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 Om Mani Padme Hung. Om Mani Padme Hung, 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 Om Mani Padme Hung. Om Mani Padme Hung, 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 Om Mani Padme Hung. Om Mani Padme Hung, Om Mani Padme Hung, Om Mani Padme Hung, Om Mani Padme Hung, Om Mani Padme Hum. 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 And let's give thanks for our teachers. May all of my blessed teachers enjoy long, happy, healthy, productive lives and great support for their good works. May all beings benefit from their wisdom. May they enjoy a swift and happy rebirth and long life. Prayer for Lamadachin Yeshe Wangmo. Om Sosti. Through the powerful blessings of the immortal Pema Jungye and his consort, may the three secret qualities of the Dakini of Supreme Bliss Yeshe Wangmo be utterly stable, and may the light of her activities shine on the lotus groves of the teachings and of beings, so that they blossom in radiant splendor. And let's dedicate the merit. May the merit of this practice and all of my activities be of endless benefit to all beings in all realms, beginningless and continuous. May all obstacles be overcome and suffering cease at the sound of liberation. May all beings be free from suffering and its causes. May all beings have happiness and its causes. May we carry the essence of Guanyin in our hearts. Namo Guanxin Pusa. And we close with a bow to Guanyin, a bow to one another, and a bow to the inner teacher. And hope that you had a good one. Thank you, Priestess Shauna. So nice to hear from you. Waving at you, Jasai, and hope everyone has a good day. Call your power back today. Call it all home and just watch what ends up happening as a result. Be back tomorrow. Bye.